Hey everybody, this is Kenny Cummins here. You're chilling with Kenny C, and I'm joined with my next guest at this time, a recording artist here in Kentucky. He goes by the name of Anthony Highley. He's with me right now. How's it going?
It's going, man. Been recording all day.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for taking the time and doing this interview, man. This is actually your second interview today, so you've been
Oh,
pretty
okay.
busy today.
Yeah, it's been I feel you. Yeah, it has.
So,
Yeah, man. I've been working all day to try to get some stuff together, sending out stuff to some of these radio stations around and stuff out here too. So I feel you, man. It's been a wild day.
absolutely, man. So, talk about how you getting started into music. How did it start off for you?
Man, my my intro into music goes way back. I grew up out in Powell County when I was younger, and we just played in churches and everything back then. Kind of started back there. I think you'll find that with a lot of folks in this scene around doing the type of music that I do. A lot of us got our start doing that, and just kind of graduated from that. Man, I when I got out of high school and stuff, man, I think everybody kind of wanted to do rock and metal and all that stuff, and just everything just kind of come full circle back into what I'm doing now. More of the country kind of type. I don't know if you'd call it country or what you call what I'm doing really right now, but whatever it is that I'm doing.
So I did hear one of your songs. I think the song that I've heard was "Small Regrets."
Hmm.
That's your a song came out back in November, and I definitely will talk about that song in just a bit.
Okay.
So as far as your journey in music, every artist get inspired by someone or somebody. Um, so with that being said, man, who's some of the artists that has inspired you as an artist?
Man, I've had so many inspirations. It's because I listen to everything, man. I'm not really drawn to just any like one certain type of music. It's like if you listen to stuff that I do, like on my YouTube channel, for instance, there's a little bit of everything there. But I guess if I had to pick the the one that really like got me originally into music, and this is going to be probably one of the most cliche answers that you're going to hear. It was I heard the Black Album by Metallica whenever I was when I was about 8 years old, and man, it just changed my life. Up until that point, the music and stuff that I was so used to hearing, uh, it was more like the mountain music kind of stuff, and I heard that, and that was just something that spoke to me directly, and then out of that grew a love for other genres, man. That's the thing, is it led into other genres. It so many different things, man. It everything from from hard rock to alternative, 90s alternative punk rock. I even listened to like pop music and hip hop and everything, man. It just all kind of I just grew into it all down through my time of being in music, period. So
It definitely shows you showing versatility
mhm.
as far as going through different genres, whether it's covers or whether it's trying to add that to some elements, have some elements to your music per se.
Mhm.
It definitely feels like in today's music, artists are stepping out of the box, just showing some versatility, showing that they're more than one dimensional.
Yeah,
Um,
especially over here now on the East Coast. I feel like you know, for the longest time, I felt like a lot of artists that were from this area, especially if you go back to the mid 2000s and stuff, they would almost try to put on a front like they were from other areas and stuff. A lot of folks I knew specifically in the music scene wouldn't even admit that they were from Kentucky and stuff. Now it's suddenly kind of come back to where there's more of this kind of pride from being in this area. Everybody from Ohio. I think artists like Jelly Roll, um, Ryan Upchurch, and stuff like that really kind of help spotlight that back in this area to really, more music that's aimed more at the younger generation and stuff too. Now, that's not to say anything, towards some of the other, some, like Chris Stapleton and stuff like that from this area. Everybody likes him, but I feel like as far as like the youth goes, as far as like capturing the youth, I think is more of anything. And like those artists really help kind of spotlight this area a lot, man. And that's been a really awesome thing to see that going on now, to where it's been more cool to be from Kentucky. It's been more cool to be from Ohio, Tennessee, and so forth. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely been a fan of Jelly Roll for years, and
Hmm.
I'm now just starting to see him go through different genres per se.
Hmm.
It's just seeing how versatile he is. Doing and it's cool. I think it's unique, that artists are willing to challenge themselves, um, go a different route, just to see how they feel about it, their approach per se.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good. It's a good look. Whether you're indie artist or you're a mainstream artist, willing to step out of the comfort zone, and then who knows, it might lead to something special. It might inspire another crop of talent to say, you know
Hmm.
what, I see Jelly Roll doing that. I see other artists doing that. Maybe I should take a shot at it too. This music has a way of inspiring people, whether you inspiring yourself or inspiring others. It's music has a way of inspiring people one way or another.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got a kind of a funny story about Jelly Roll, man.
Right.
A good friend of mine, he's a rapper out of Frankfurt. Dude named Andrew Miller. He used to go by Liquid Six, and back, and I want to say it was around 2007, 2008. It was right around the time when Jelly had actually just gotten out of jail, and that whole probation thing. He'd done his freestyle online. It was blowing up. Well, my buddy, they had some kind of show that they had booked through some people out in Ohio, and he had won this contest for like if you could sell the most tickets, and you would be the opening act for Lil White, which Lil White, as you know, he's him and Jelly are real good friends. They kind of come up together through 3 6 Mafia and all that stuff. And basically, he sold all these tickets, and man, I remember like we were shuttling people out to Ohio and stuff, and we go out and we fill up this little club down there, and they were impressed and all this stuff. So he goes back to the studio that night with Lil White to cut a track, and they get in there, and of course, Lil White, man, Lil White was cool as hell, but we didn't know who Jelly. He didn't know who Jelly Roll was, and he comes in, he's like, man, my boy Jelly. He's like, he just got out of jail, and he's like, man, we've been putting him on stuff. He's like, dude, he's offering to do a track with you for free. Well, my buddy, he never even heard of him, and he didn't. The name kind of threw him off. He's like Jelly Roll. He's like, man, I don't know, I don't know. Well, he ended up not putting him on that track, man. And nowadays, every time I play out, uh, and I do like if I do a cover of "Save Me" or something like that by Jelly Roll, I always tell that story. So I'm like, man, I've never seen a dude kick himself so hard. See all this time, when he could have had that dude on a track back then. You never know who's going to come up though. That's the thing, man. You don't know, and you can't go by names or anything like that, man. Not anymore. It's hard to really, people can there's such this mix of genres anymore, man. That's what I love about what I'm seeing now, especially out of indie music and the ability to promote yourself online and all that. I mean, it's no longer strangled off by the mainstream at the top. I love that. So.
Yeah, you definitely seen indie artists prosper.
Hmm.
Um, just getting that, it takes a lot, especially people comes from your own wallet. You get little to no support. Some are like doing it their way. No middleman in the way as far as, 'cause I feel like I've always feel like as a music listener, like if I'm hearing this music, I want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear it from the A&Rs and the execs. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think, what you feel, what
Yep.
what what's your thoughts on things. And I think that's what makes it, unique. It's just seeing artists being authentic within themselves.
Hmm.
So Little
Well,
White, obviously, people know him from Hypnotize Minds with 3 6 Mafia. who's
Mhm.
definitely one of my favorite hip hop groups of all time.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with Little White. His he's got the music that you better be willing to fight somebody. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's what that is, fight music.
Yeah, yeah. In the club, in the bar, venue, don't matter. If you hear some Little White music, you better be willing to fight. So yeah, that's near or there. I want to talk about "Small Regrets."
Yeah.
That's a song you've been promoting.
Mhm.
I played the song earlier. I like the track. Talk this. Tell me about the story behind "Small Regrets."
Small Regrets is, sort of like, I guess you'd call it like a last straw kinda song, like, it kinda come about at a time, man, I was working a job that I hated back, and it hasn't even been that long ago, about a year ago, I guess, and, every day I go to this job, and I'd work, and I'd get done and have to deal with people, some folks I really liked. I mean, that's the thing, I worked with the public a lot, and I enjoyed working with the public, but you would have those certain encounters with some people, or, things would happen, and I'd just come home every night, man, and I'd be working on my music, but not really doing anything with it. I didn't really plan on doing anything with it. I just kind of did. And all the time I would have these people in my ear telling me, like, dude, do something, try something, And then I saw some of my friends that are in the regional scene. They're out here tearing it up, man. Like Jonathan Pennington from Moonlight Mile, Sarah Beth Terry, Brian McKinney from Moral Tavern. They were out here doing the thing, man. And I would see them doing this stuff, and I was just like, man, I don't know that I could really do that. And so then I got invited on to Loretta Friends radio stations here in town, WIRV, and I went on there and I did some songs, and they really liked them, but they were mostly covers. And they were like, man, go home and write some originals. So I was just kind of stressed with everything. I was like, this is me just throwing all the cards in to see what happens, and that's what that song is really about. It's just about me, kind of like as an artist hanging on by a thread, and this is your last run in, just throw it all in and see what happens, kind of song. I touch on a couple things in there, like pawning my grandfather's guitar. It's all true story. Uh, Different things. I actually ended up losing that guitar and found it years later in a whole other pawn shop, And I remember him telling me back then, he's like, "Well, it can't play the blues unless it's been in the pawn shop a time or two." He was just cool and passive about it and everything. But I tried to add little elements of everything in my life into any of these songs I do, because I find that if I try to write about something else, or if I try to like force something in, it doesn't work. So if I just write about the things that I know, and one thing that I do know is being a struggling artist, and so that's what I threw into Small Regrets. So that's kind of where all that come from. And I surprisingly, after I released that song, and I started getting all these bookings in and everything, and then that's what I ended up doing full time for a living now. So it just kind of blows my mind that that's how all that went. So
Yeah, that's definitely the thing with music. Taking chances
hmm
and just hope for the best. And it definitely looks like it was worth it on your end, because here you are. I'm looking at your Facebook page. You got some shows lined up.
yeah,
Stacking up. You stacking up with shows after shows after shows, and different bars, venues, in different cities in Kentucky. So before I get to your upcoming shows, you
mhm.
mentioned at the beginning of this interview that you've been working on some new music, and so this is leads me to ask you, when can we expect some new music from you, in the coming weeks or months? When you will be releasing some new music down the road?
I'm gonna be releasing a new single coming up here soon. It's called "Running on Empty." Um, Basically, the premise of the song, it tells three different separate little stories in the song. Um, Basically, one of them is kind of about this guy who's, he's coming in, and his woman that he's with, he's not sure that he wants to be with her anymore. And they kind of, I like throwing twists in my songs. Like they kind of end up in like this gunfight in the song because they're both drug dealers. So I kind of, uh, I came up out of a wild background like that myself. I know people and stuff that's done some things they probably aren't too proud of, and so I try to incorporate stuff like that in the music. The I'm actually, for this to be my first video where I've actually paid actors that I'm going to be having that are featured in the video. They're going to kind of act out some of the scenes and stuff in it. So I'm going to be more behind the camera in this one, which is going to be fun. But overall, the songs like Small Regrets and Running on Empty, they're all off of a bigger album that I'm working on called Compared to Saul. The whole premise for that is just I it's not that it's a gospel album, because it's not, but in the Bible, you had Saul, the kind of redemption arc of Saul in the Bible, and I kind of looked at this whole music thing as like a redemption arc for myself. The places that I took myself maybe that I wasn't too proud of, and so forth, and actually having a chance to do what I do. So yeah, that's kind of where everything bled over into this album. So
All right, so I'm definitely excited for it. I like Small Regrets, and so I'm very looking forward to hearing more music from you in the future. So let's get to the shows, man. As far as upcoming shows, where can people find you performing in the near future?
man, I'm all over the place. I'm headed back to Louisville next weekend. I'm going to be Dundee Tavern. It's one of my favorite places to play. Man, that's an awesome place to go in, not just to catch music, but like you can go up there and watch the game, stuff like that. Man, folks love to go up there for that. But it's always packed, and everybody who comes up there, man, they're about the music, and that's what I love about places like that. Just last week, I played Golden Nugget Tavern down in Louisville as well, and I that's the thing about Louisville. Louisville is a music city. Anytime I can get out that way, like I'm going, I'm down. I told them, I said I'll play a broom closet out there. I don't care, because I love Louisville fans, man. Louisville music fans about it. And I got after that, I got one coming up back out in Indiana. I play up in Indiana and Indianapolis all the time. There's a place out there called Fistful of Ale, Losers Billiards 812 out that way. It's wild because some of these places you get up in Indianapolis, they almost look like punk clubs, and it's like when I went in to do the type of music that I do, because mine touches on a little bit of everything. I come in wearing like a John Deere hat and stuff, and I'm thinking, man, they're not gonna like what I do, dude. They love it, and that always, like, it just drives me, man, to like go in and try to see where all I can get, the style that I'm doing over at. Yeah, so just basically everywhere, man. I'm up in Indiana. I'm in Ohio. Uh, I got another show coming up at Street Side Brewery coming up here in a few weeks. So just kind of one of them things where if anybody's curious and want to see where I'm playing at, you can go over to my music page, Anthony Highley. Just look me up on Facebook. Man, there's a massive list. You're not kidding about the list of shows over there. I think in December alone, I did 23 shows. So yeah,
23 in December?
yeah, 23,
Oh,
23.
that's 31
Yeah,
days of the year. Of the
I know.
month. Ooh.
That's the way I look at it, man. The jobs that I had and stuff where I was working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week sometimes. If I could handle that and go in and deal with that there, then I can definitely try to fill out my schedule doing shows, doing what I love to do. So I'd say, about counting unlisted shows, I just about worked every day in December, aside from the holidays, taking off like 3 or 4 days there for the holidays.
Yeah.
So, it's like this: if I get too much downtime, man, I start going stir crazy here. Start feeling like I'm not doing enough. that's the thing is, I any time of day, like I make sure that I'm up usually about 4:30 in the morning, so I can get a head start on my social media stuff and everything because I don't want to get behind on that. As soon as I'm caught up on that by about 11 or 12, I'm headed out to either go to the studio to record. I'm headed somewhere to meet up with somebody to do something with music. It's if there's if that's part of your career, if that's what you're trying to do, and that's what you got to be doing all the time. You know, you don't have major labels and marketing teams and stuff like that to push you. You got to push yourself. You got to be out there constantly. So,
Yeah, in other words, you gotta take matters in your own hands, pretty
mhm.
much. Um, so
Especially if
check
you're trying to
out
pay the bills.
that too.
Yeah,
Gotta pay the bills. The bills ain't gonna pay themselves, apparently. Um, but man, it's good to have you on the show, man. I enjoy our conversation.
yeah,
Check out Anthony Highley. He's gonna be everywhere in tri-state area. So just check him out. Check his Facebook page. Check out the events tab and see where he's coming to a show, a city, a venue near you, and go um, check out his latest single, "Small Regrets." That's available on all the platforms. It's been out since November of last year, and he has mentioned he's got new music on the way. So stay tuned for that on all his social medias. Thank you so much, Anthony, for your time, man.
yeah,
Uh,
man.
Continued success, man. Best of success goes out to you. And thanks again.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
All right, man. You have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Hey, you too, man. Talk to you soon.
All right.